Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together, talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I thank God every day that I'm not the head.
And I still have a picture of Vince McMahon tattooed around my asshole.
Jesus.
Welcome to episode 303, A Matter of Respect, 1998.
Shane, quick question. Pre or post villain mustache? You don't have to answer that.
I mean, since I took it from this show, it would be pre, but considering the image that we were all given last year, or I guess technically this year, was it?
It's the last year and a half.
Yeah, whenever he came out with his Street Fighter look, I'd have to switch over to that.
His Vincent Price look.
Who doesn't enjoy a good
you have to get
mustache?
it. Yeah, you need to get some touch-up work and update it.
So this is the second and last Matter of Respect produced by ECW. It would take place on May 16th, 1998, from the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with an attendance of 1,600 people.
So yeah, I guess they come up with a different name for the next pay-per-view.
This is basically just a house show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this isn't the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because this house show is similar to another house show we watched recently.
Like last week.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure how recent, but you know.
But we are in Philly.
Back in Philly.
I mean, it's been a while.
It has been.
Well, Shane, did you do what you do?
Yes.
We're going to find out together.
I kind of did. It's our first time back in Philly for a while, and to stick with tradition, well, here we are, back in Philly. It's been, I don't even remember the last time we were here. It's been that long. For the longest time, it was, I need help with Philly, and now I can't remember the last time we were in Philly, which is great, because Philly got to be a chore for a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily get on and say, what do people drink in Philly? I got on and used this show as a inspiration to find a food or beverage. But who am I kidding? It's ECW, so I went with a beverage.
It was 30 episodes ago.
Wow.
Jeebus.
That might be a record. Since they showed up.
We've been in Pennsylvania since then.
Yeah.
This is the first time
Philly.
in Philly in 30 episodes.
Yeah, because like the last time we were near Philly, it was probably when Shane Douglas...
Yeah, it was in Monica, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. But yeah, I got on there and used this show as inspiration, and I thought there has to be some sort of a cocktail or something like that has the word respect in it. So I looked up a Matter of Respect cocktail, and I found something close. I found what is equal parts tequila and 151.
Jesus.
With a dash of Tabasco.
Wow, that's what the little red specks are.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Shane.
This is a shot of respect.
A shot of respect.
Yeah, it's exactly as it sounds.
I'm going to say this is more Pantera than Aretha Franklin. As far as songs that use the word respect a lot.
Shoot this and then try and spell respect.
R-E-S-P-C-C-P.
Yeah. Equal parts tequila and 151 with literally just a dash, or in this case, I mixed 3 ounces of tequila, 3 ounces of 151, and 3 dashes of Tabasco over ice inside of my little cocktail shaker, and then strained it into these cute little glasses.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I had these.
I didn't take a picture. I feel foolish because, you gotta have a picture.
You want one or you two together?
I'll go ahead and put yours up there. Why not? Here we go. It's a first. Our first shot
I think
on the show.
Yeah.
And our first time of me taking a photo of the item as I'm talking into the microphone. Because, this one won't make any crunching noises when I shoot it, but...
We might get some, gagging noises.
Whew.
But we get a good clink.
Yeah.
That's right. Clink. Shot of respect. Down the hatch.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2. Here we go. 3. Wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, but
Could have been a little colder.
yeah,
It stays with you.
It's up in my nose.
Yep.
It might clear up my the cold I'm getting over.
If you hear sniffles the rest of the episode, you'll know why.
Yeah. So there's really no history behind this. It's a simple. It showed up on Google, so I figured, what the fuck. And it worked out better because I didn't have to buy anything else for this, even though I technically bought a bottle of Tabasco because I didn't know if you had any over here, and I had already asked you.
I don't know if I do or not.
You did, because I found it as I was looking for the shaker.
But Tabasco doesn't go bad. It's just vinegar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I finally didn't necessarily have to buy something extra for it. I just did out of habit.
You can put it in your
take it to work.
handbag like Hillary Clinton.
Like a hot sauce in a bag swag like Beyonce.
Yeah, you could taste all three of those ingredients.
Yep.
There was no new flavor it created outside of like. I got the burn of the Bacardi, the slight burn of the because it's 151, and the slight burn of the Tabasco, and then the aftertaste of tequila. But it took about 20 to 30 seconds.
It's still there for me.
20 30 seconds for it to show up, the tequila taste, but it's still there.
Yep. Damn, I should have tried. I didn't even think about it until now. Tried setting them on fire just to see, because there's 151 in there, so who knows? It may have.
What was it?
It definitely would have.
A shot of respect.
Yeah, a shot of respect. Hey, we survived.
Hey, I will still say it's better than a bull shot.
Exactly.
It was definitely
true. I guess then, we technically have had a shot.
Yeah, this wasn't awful. It was just slightly painful. It's one of I'm not a guy that takes shots.
I used to be.
Yeah, this is probably the first shot I took all year.
Yes.
They have the ingredients.
Yeah, in this case, we literally had them sitting around the house. 151, a little bit of tequila.
I mean, thanks to Shane, because he's a culinary trip around the world, brings random bottles of liquor.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have. There'd be a decent chance I might have some tequila, but 151. No way in hell.
And I don't remember the one drink that I had to buy that for, but they apparently didn't sell it in small bottles.
Did you make like a hurricane?
I cannot remember, honestly.
That's like a New Orleans thing. Right?
We've had a few different rum cocktails over this.
Yeah, there's a big difference between rum and 151. Though.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Well, I guess since we're properly lubed,
we're ready to go for Philly.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time, as a matter of respect, Godzilla would hit theaters the next weekend.
Here, lizard. That's all I know.
I saw this in the theater. First Godzilla movie I ever saw.
I remember the previews for it. This is the Matthew Broderick one?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the previews for it. And
you remember the teaser?
No.
Because they did that teaser for a long time where they're at the Natural History Museum in New York City or whatever, and then Godzilla steps in on top of the dinosaur or whatever.
They're doing their play on Jurassic Park, huh?
Yeah. Well, they're just basically being he's even bigger than a T-Rex or whatever because he's Godzilla. But I saw this movie in the theater and I was pretty young, and one of those things where I didn't know that years later everybody thought it was a steaming pile of shit because I had a good time watching it.
I never saw it, so
it's probably bad, but I had a good time watching it as a kid.
I remember when it came out, and then I remember when it came out on video because I was working at Blockbuster at the time, but it was one that it was just, I had no desire to take it home and watch it.
I had it on VHS, I believe. It might have been a Christmas gift.
I believe this was my first Godzilla movie as well, and so I was all in on it.
Yeah.
Now, since then...
Because you've become a fan of Godzilla.
Since they've made good Academy Award-winning ones.
Watched many other Godzilla movies, including the original Japanese ones. This is a steaming pile of garbage.
Yeah.
But it does have a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was kind of the biggest thing about it because it got so many singles off of it. It was early Puff Daddy single that was successful post the death of Notorious B.I.G. It had it was
the one with Robert Palmer.
Yeah, the Jimmy Page one. But what was the other song? Was Heroes?
It was Heroes by the Wallflowers.
Yeah, their cover of Heroes. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I remember the soundtrack being a big one as well.
Taco Bell had a huge sponsorship with them, with their Chihuahua.
I think I probably had a toy or two from the drive-through.
I think I still have one of those little drink carrier car caddy things that you would attach to the side of your car. Like in the window.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I still have one of those. I don't remember if it was Taco Bell or if that was something that we sold at Blockbuster, but I want to say I still have one of those at home somewhere in a box.
But yeah, I mean, isn't the twist at the end of this that Godzilla like laid eggs in like Central Park?
Spoilers.
It doesn't matter. It's not good.
Like Jurassic Kingdom
it's
is
been
getting
a
ready
while
to
since
start.
I've watched this one. I try and put this one out of my mind.
I think this would even.
Let it come full circle. Jurassic Kingdom. We're gonna have a Godzilla dragon. Jurassic. Whatever. A Godzilla dinosaur.
I think that the Godzilla. I think this movie may have done well enough that they did an animated kids show.
Yes, they did.
Because I remember that because this Godzilla doesn't look like Godzilla at all. His face is basically like a square.
Yeah, like
it's
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah,
who directs it, and
it's not his best.
He's the guy who makes the disaster movies.
It's not Independence Day,
which
is his crowning achievement.
Yes,
right?
that is his crowning achievement. I mean, unless you want to call Day After Tomorrow a crowning achievement, which
please don't.
No one does.
Yeah,
but yeah, so like it's almost played up more as a disaster movie than it is like a Godzilla movie. I mean, he's even been quoted that he didn't even like the original Godzilla. Roland Emmerich.
What great taste! Is he talking about the like American edit or the Japanese movie or the Japanese edit?
I'm assuming that he means the original Japanese.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even because
that's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It still holds up.
Apparently, at least that or the casting director had a very, very big hard-on for The Simpsons because you've got Harry Shearer, Hank Azaria, Nancy Cartwright, Bart Simpson herself in it.
That's funny.
You've got Doug Savant from Melrose Place. You've got Vicki Lewis from News Radio. Jean Reno from The Professional.
Oh, yeah, he is in it.
And then, of course, old Matthew Broderick. Yeah, I had no desire to watch it at all.
I mean, literally out of every Godzilla movie that's ever been released, I would say that this is the one that I would not recommend.
I mean, some of those, like, the Japanese ones that are made for kids, they just crap out. Like, but they're normally, like, kind of...
I'm not saying all 13 of the Showa era films are great by any means, but...
No, but they're... probably shorter and at least have some kind of bizarre charm.
Yeah, exactly.
Because to me, like, I'm not a big Bond guy, but the Godzilla movies that are not like the first one for like through the 70s are kind of like Bond movies where they're just like a bizarre spy thing with like a sci-fi element, and then like there's a little bit of Godzilla. But there's always like a guy in a suit doing a thing, and it's bizarre.
See, my first experience with Godzilla-ish, I've never watched one of the movies. I've never even really seen, other than a clip that's being shown on another movie where they're watching Godzilla. That's the closest I've come to watching a full-on.
You've never
Godzilla.
seen any of them?
Mm-mm.
Oh well.
One Crazy Summer with John Cusack, Demi Moore, Bobcat Goldthwait. They have a scene in there where Bobcat Goldthwait is dressed up in a Godzilla costume and is walking around over this little village of like toy houses and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've come to watching Godzilla.
Well, Shane, you should watch Godzilla -1.
Yeah, Godzilla -1.
The new ones I'm very interested in seeing.
I mean, I think Shin Godzilla is very good, but it's not the best starting place. But Godzilla -1, honestly, like, either watch the first one or that one, and you're good to go.
I mean, Godzilla -1 was my favorite movie of the year when it came out.
I mean, it was Japanese people making a like American influenced blockbuster and nailing it better than America has with a quote unquote blockbuster in probably 20 years.
So it's like Power Rangers, but with Godzilla?
No. It's much more serious. It's like
I
serious.
figured that, but
yeah.
Just, the original Power Rangers was where they used all the clips of the Japanese
show.
No.
That's what the American version of the original Godzilla is.
Yeah.
where they like have American actors and just like clip in the like Godzilla footage. But then the actual, and that's a little goofier, but...
No, there's a complete heart to Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
That I was crying in the
I would say it has
theater
more
at the
heart
end.
than any of the Godzilla movies I've seen. And I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah. But enough about Godzilla.
How much heart does Philly have on this night, May 16th, 1998?
How much respect do they have? Even more important.
I don't know. Is FBI here?
So we get the title and date card before we go straight to our first match. Just Incredible with Jason, the sexiest man on earth, and Chastity versus Jerry Lynn in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And they're back and forth to start until Credible tries to go up and over in a corner, only to be caught and crotched on the ropes, followed by Jerry hitting a corner clothesline for a 2 count.
And I mean, Jerry just pinned Just Incredible, right?
Last week?
Yeah, last week.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like Just Incredible has been pretty dominant, so, we got to find out who the better man is.
Yep.
Love to see it.
Lynn continues with a leaping back elbow, turnbuckle smashes, and a whip of Justin into a corner for a flare flip out to the floor before Jerry flies over with a pescado. Credible is sitting to the crowd, followed by Lynn setting up a table and heading to the apron for a flying clothesline. But he slips and goes gut first into the railing.
Ouch.
Oof, it looked pretty rough. I imagine he at least got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, he literally got railed.
Justin takes control with whips into the steel, chops, and eye rakes as they make their way back inside, where Jerry goes up and over a charging Credible in a corner for a sunset flip roll-up that gets a near fall, only for Justin to answer right back with a power slam for a 2 count. Credible hits a jawbreaker and a running straddle on the ropes before Lynn fires back with chops and a whip, following in with a Bronco Buster that Justin avoids. And Jason gives Credible a chair but slams Jerry down first before heading up top with steel in hand, only for Lynn to get his boot up to the chair to knock it into Justin's face. Jerry then picks up the chair and uses it across the back of his opponent, followed by a bulldog onto the steel as well for a near fall.
He must have some respect for him. It was an ECW doing a chair shot to somebody's back. Crazy.
Lynn tries for another, but it's countered into a back suplex onto the chair, allowing Credible to pick Jerry up for his finisher. But Lynn reverses to hit That's Incredible on Justin for the pin.
Stole his damn move.
I mean, love to see it.
So Jerry's up 1-0 as Jason comes in to argue. He wants a rest period, but the ref's having none of it. So Lynn stays on the attack with a vertical suplex, STF, side slam, and a second rope leg drop that gets a 2 count. Incredible reverses a whip and charges in for a monkey flip, only for Jerry to shove Justin off, but he answers right back with a head scissors that sends Jerry to the floor. Incredible grabs a chair for a chair shot to the head. The sexiest man on earth gets a few shots in before rolling a busted open Jerry back into the ring, where Justin works over the cut with strikes and a facebuster onto a chair. And Lynn stomped down in a corner with Jason holding a chair in front of Jerry's face, while Credible hits a running knee that gets a near fall. Justin wears down his opponent with a front face lock until Lynn begins to fire up, only to have his eyes raked and whipped to the ropes. But Jerry ducks a clothesline and nails a head scissors. But Credible responds with a knee lift and a suplex attempt, only for Lynn to float over and deliver a DDT for a 2 count. Jerry now heads up top, but Justin knocks him down to the mat and goes up himself, where the 2 men fight atop the turnbuckle, only for Credible to hit a sunset flip bomb for a near fall. Justin would then follow up with That's Incredible for a pin to even up the score.
Wow,
Pretty fun that they both got a fall with the same move.
Yep. I was waiting for Justin to use Jerry's finishing move, but I don't even remember what Jerry's finishing move was.
I'm not really sure what he's using at this point.
We haven't seen enough of him.
Yep.
And
but I've already seen more of him than I've seen in the past.
And with Just Incredible, it's like his finisher is pretty memorable. Number one, because it's cool, but because it's another play on his name. So sticks to the bones.
Yes.
Jason again argues for a rest period, but Finnegan just wants him out of the ring. Allowed Incredible to deliver chops, a swinging DDT, and a pile driver for a 2 count. Justin goes for another pile driver, only for Lynn to counter with a backdrop and a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Jerry's whip is then reversed, but he does backdrop a charging Incredible to the apron before hitting a stunner across the ropes. Lynn then kicks Justin out to the floor to bounce his head off of a table, followed by taking Incredible to the top turnbuckle to hit a Super Rana through the timekeeper's table.
Pretty nasty stuff. Easy dub.
Jerry drags Justin back in to place him on the top for a draping DDT for the pin. And no, Jason places Credible's boot on the ropes.
Damn it. Damn you, sexy man.
Lynn picks up Justin for That's Incredible, only for it to be reversed. But Jerry reverses it back to nail the finisher. But the sexiest man on earth would jump in the ring to eat a tombstone as well. Chastity would then jump in the ring only to be shoved away, but gets back up to deliver a low blow, allowing Justin to roll up Jerry for the pin and the win.
This is good stuff. It's a little long for a first match. I would have liked to see this at 2 or 3. That's being picky because we're in ECW and we can get some good competitive wrestling with people that do the kind of work, can do the kind of work that we appreciate, but can also pull out big moves. No crocodile tears. Not an ECW show.
I'm actually proud of ECW on this one because for so long we've had either an I don't care match or a comedy match to start it off, and they put us.
Good point.
They put us with this.
Yeah,
so.
They didn't put the FBI up top.
Yeah,
where were you? Yeah, which that's a good mix-up. Also,
they're teaching people to be in your seats when the show starts. Otherwise, you might miss something good.
Jerry didn't lose anything here because he lost to a low blow, and he just beat Just Incredible a week before. Just Incredible has been around longer. He's the heel. He's got a manager and a valet. Yeah. I didn't want to say hoe or call her the B word. That's not very nice. The word is valet. But, I mean, yeah, Jerry loses nothing and further shows what he can do.
And now they're officially balanced out for a rubber match because they have two pins on each other.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what I'd like to see their next match be on a pay-per-view. If you watch a match and you're ready for them to run it back, that match was successful.
Yep.
It's just kind of how wrestling works.
To answer your question from earlier, I just remembered what Lynn's finisher is, and I'm not sure if it's what it is at this point.
But it becomes his staple.
Becomes Cradle Pile Driver.
Okay.
Which is he was kind of one of the first people to kind of do the Cradle Pile Driver.
Like a Gotch style?
Well, I guess it kind of is a Gotch style.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, but he's holding both the legs low. Yeah. We'll see it soon enough. But for pile drivers, I'm there's the tombstone.
Okay, yeah.
There's the Gotch.
He did it differently in this one, where he just...
There's the sit out.
Kind of put the hands through.
Yeah. There's the corkscrew.
Yeah.
I just saw it a couple times.
So we're on to our second match. Jamie Dundee versus Chris Chetti. And
these guys with their awful names.
Mm-hmm. It's their real names.
I know, but they stink. I like both of them. Just saying, it's it's Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
I always hear it as Jimmy, and I'm Jimmy Dundee's a better name.
It's because he's Australian.
Yeah, Chris Chetti, and it's you can't be a Dundee.
And did he specify in his little opening rant, whatever, old Dundee, that Chetti is Taz's cousin? Or one of the, maybe it was...
Did he say that?
Well, he said he was part of Taz's gang, and then I think it was...
He is Taz's cousin.
Joey Styles that said he was his cousin.
He is his cousin. He was also the first graduate of the...
They do say that.
Of the...
Yeah, when they was talking about...
ECW dojo.
Yeah.
House of Hardcore.
Yeah. There we go. Good job.
I was like...
Good job.
Did they call it House of Hardcore at that point?
They did. But, yeah. I like Jamie Dundee, but he goes on a little too long, and he could be a little more creative. But I like his vibe in general, and he's a pretty good comedy wrestler. That doesn't get too funny.
He's completely Memphis style.
Yes, which is nice
heel,
sometimes.
Trying to just get cheap heat from the crowd and taunting them.
It's just hard when you're doing Jerry Lawler, but like nobody can do it better than Jerry Lawler.
Yeah. He's like Tommy Rich currently in this product, but he's actually wrestling.
Yeah. But I think he's fun. We'll talk about it. Take it away, Matt.
But our two competitors started off with some mat wrestling until Chris hits multiple drop toe holds and a springboard clothesline, sending Jamie to the floor to regroup. Back in, the two return to the back and forth action when a drop kick sends Dundee back out, with Chetti following out with a springboard crossbody, only for Jamie to avoid, sending Chris crashing into the railing.
Nobody's home.
They return to the ring where Dundee hits a vertical suplex and applies a chinlock, which Chetti fights out of to attempt a suplex. But Jamie blocks and tosses Chris to the floor before flying over the ropes with a plancha. Now back inside, Dundee goes back to the chinlock, which Chetti again escapes for the two to trade strikes, leading to Chris delivering a back suplex, only to miss a springboard leg lariat. But Jamie then misses a second rope elbow drop, allowing Chetti to nail a sidekick and a double springboard moonsault for the pin and the win.
This match has one of my favorite ECW crowd chants in a while. While Dundee has Chetti in the reverse chinlock, they start chanting "You fuck sheep" at him because he's from the South. We're in Philly, so why would they be less crass? We don't want that from them. We know what we're here for. It's a matter of respect.
You fuck sheep.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Hey, they've had more objectionable ones.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
So we go to our third match. Mikey Whipwreck versus Mike Lozansky.
And just, I love to point it out, as I'm wearing my classic Mikey Whipwreck all-over print t-shirt, he's rocking a new one that we haven't seen. We've seen the Silver Surfer, we've seen the Red Dragon, we've seen the Blue Dragon. He's got an all-over Punisher t-shirt. It's in the Marvel Comics character. I don't know why. Maybe he is a nerd, or maybe he just likes ugly t-shirts, but we like Mikey, so we don't care.
Give a little bit of background on Lozansky, or at least what I could find.
Yeah, sure. I got questions.
His biggest claim to fame is actually helping Chris Jericho get into Mexico.
Oh.
Helped him get into AAA, where Chris Jericho became the Lionheart.
Yeah, and probably is what helped him get into Japan.
And probably his biggest match to date, he was one of Goldberg's first victims.
Hey.
Oh, nice. So, squash match on TV.
Like he was number 3 or something like that.
On TV.
He got something that Jericho never could back then. He never actually had a match with Goldberg, so...
Jericho probably fucking... he probably would have paid them to not have to wrestle Goldberg because he's like, I don't want to get... I've got a good thing going. Don't fuck it up by having the most over guy just wreck me in
20 seconds.
In 20 seconds. Yeah, he's been going 15 with Saturn. Everyone else has to get murdered in 3, and Saturn's twice my size. So, I do have a note that I wrote down.
Okay.
From Joey. Mike Lozansky has been working all Japan, and he also went to the Hart family dungeon to train.
Okay.
So he's probably...
That's probably where he met Jericho.
Yeah, he's probably pretty decent. But yeah, so to add on to what you had, Joey said it.
So Lozansky hits multiple drop kicks and arm drags that sends Whipwreck out to regroup, only for Mike to follow with a Pescado. But Mikey reverses a whip to send Lozansky into the guardrail and rolled back in for a slingshot rolling neck snap for a 2 count. A hip toss reversal by each competitor, so Whipwreck goes for a rocker dropper, only to be picked up and dropped with a powerbomb, before being hit with a clothesline and a snap suplex for a near fall by his opponent.
It makes sense that this guy went to the Hart family dungeon. He's pretty good.
Mikey avoids a corner splash, but Lozansky charges out with a clothesline, goes for an elbow drop that Whipwreck avoids as well, followed by an arm drag into an armbar. And Mikey goes with an Irish whip, only for Lozansky to come off the ropes with a crossbody and a clothesline for a 2 count. Mike then nails a spin kick and a gut wrench suplex that gets a near fall, as Whipwreck gets a boot on the ropes, before delivering a faceplant on a telegraphed back body drop.
Don't do it.
Mikey continues with a back suplex, followed by a reversed whip, where Whipwreck gets a boot up on the charging Lozansky, allowing him to nail a tornado DDT for a 2 count. Mikey then heads up top for a springboard corkscrew senton.
It looks nice.
But Lozansky moves in time and hits a hook kick before heading up top himself for a flying splash that gets a near fall. Lozansky goes up again, only for Whipwreck to meet him there, where they fight atop the turnbuckle, but Mikey gets shoved off to the mat. Lozansky then flies off, only for Whipwreck to catch him in midair with a whippersnapper for the pin. And the win.
I mean, fun stuff. Lozansky is very good, and it's kind of a shame because Mikey has gotten better, but as Mikey has gotten better, he's gotten more out of shape at the same time.
Yeah.
He's like put on weight, but it's not the right kind of weight, whereas Lozansky is through and through athlete that was trained by the correct people, and he has to take a loss. Kind of a shame, because who knows if he can cut a promo, but Bret Hart could barely do it, and he's one of our all-time favorites. So, like, he doesn't, yeah.
But Mikey was trained by Cactus Jack, and he's kind of taking on that Cactus
for sure.
Jack build of, I'm just going to gain weight, because it's just...
I mean, he still pulled off a twist senton, something that we would never ask Mick Foley to do at any point in his career, because... we don't want to see him get hurt like that.
Good God, can you imagine?
Just do the regular senton to the floor. No twist sentons.
He doesn't do
Your body.
He doesn't do sentons. He just falls.
yeah, that's a good point. But it's like, no in-air movement from you. You just fall. You just go straight down. We can't have we can't have you landing on your head. You weigh too much to land on your head like Mick. But yeah, Lozansky, for a guy I'd never seen before, I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how. I think All Japan was doing pretty well here in the 90s, so maybe he was making a little money.
He might be. So we go to our fourth match. Dastardly, Danny Doring, with Lance Wright, Ulf Hermann, and the Equalizer versus John Kronus.
That's the name. Okay, Ulf. I couldn't tell what the fuck they were saying on the show there. I thought they were mocking... I thought his name was mocking Hulk as Hulk Herman instead of Hulk Hogan. But yeah, Ulf. Gotcha.
Yeah. Danny Doring. I have a friend named Danny Durning, so I got a kick out of that. Who also was like, a guy who had probably owned some ECW tapes back in the day. He was a couple of years older than me.
So Wright takes the mic to introduce his crew with absolutely no charisma, with even Joey yelling, "Spit it out," at one point.
Yeah, I don't appreciate his Bret Hart-esque gear.
No.
I mean, he's dastardly.
Yeah, but black and pink belongs to one man.
So, I don't really have any information for you about Ulf or Equalizer. They don't really ever do anything in this business.
Mm-mm.
Like, I don't even know if we'll ever see Equalizer actually in a match.
Yeah.
That tells you.
Could the Equalizer be one of our favorite wrestling co-hosts, Damon of Super J-Cast? I know he worked like some indie stuff back in like the 90s, but I imagine he probably didn't make it to 98. And I know he did work, but I don't know what his name was. I could never find any information. I looked it up. I tried to look it up at one point. Maybe he was the Equalizer.
So our two competitors lock up with complaints about hair pulling from the Dastardly one before going into some mat wrestling with hammerlock and wrist locks until a low blow by Doring, allowing him to hit a rocker dropper. Danny with a clothesline, which is no sold, so he tries for another one, only to be clotheslined down by John. The Dastardly one is crotched on the ropes, followed by a spin kick to knock him off to the mat, where Kronus continues with a dragon suplex, a uranagi, and a 450 splash from the top for the pin and the win.
Thanks for... Danny comes out, does a job, but he brings two friends. man, you should have came out and saved $50. But yeah, Kronus looks great.
Post-match,
He typically does.
Hermann slingshots himself into the ring for a clothesline on John, bringing in the rest of the Wright connection to lay the beat down. When all of a sudden, Jack Victory jumps over the guardrail and into the ring to make the save. And we haven't seen Victory since Wrestle War 91, episode 53.
That's why I don't recognize him.
Yeah, I was like, the name sounds familiar, but it's also the most generic name ever.
Yep.
All of a sudden, the music starts, the X's go up, and the trash cans go flying, with New Jack hitting the ring to smash Wright with a trash can lid.
Even when you're trying to be a good guy and help people out, you're boring as fuck.
Jack goes for a guitar shot when Victory attacks New Jack, picking up the instrument and smashing it over Jack's head, allowing the connection to return to the beatdown before Lance hands a wad of cash to Victory.
The payoff.
Uh-oh. We're going to get a New Jack versus Jack Victory feud going on now.
Just might.
Who knows?
See what happens
New
on
Jack
that
will
show.
hit anybody with a Nintendo.
So we go to our fifth match. The FBI of Little Guido and Tracy Smothers with Tommy Rich versus the BWO of Blue Meanie and Supernova.
I mean, BWO is super over. FBI. Charming, but good at keeping the heat.
I still miss JT, but
Yeah.
that's going to be forever.
We always will. It's a shame, too, because, like, Tracy Smothers is not working as hard as he can, obviously, because we've seen him do incredible work, but he is technically a better wrestler than JT ever was. Unfortunately, he kind of does as little as possible at this point. No shame. He's working ECW, and
He's lasted longer than I expected him to, honestly.
yeah. It's just, it always bums me out because we watch an FBI match and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Tracy Smothers, and I should be like excited to see Tracy Smothers. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
So as soon as the BWO hits the ring, they're attacked by the FBI, using their flags and some chairs, busting Meanie open, followed by choking him with his t-shirt.
He does bleed red, not blue.
Rich takes the mic to let everyone know that some of their family might be in jail. But tonight, he's the chairman of the board. When Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney come out, along with officials to check on the BWO, carrying Blue Meanie to the back, causing this to be a no contest. But the FBI do attack the Freaks, which leads us to our sixth match of the FBI. Little Guido, Tracy Smothers, with Tommy Rich.
Also, Blue Meanie is bleeding like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
Versus the hardcore chair swinging Freaks of Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. And the groups, they're just brawling on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, this is standard ECW fare. Where it's like, another match happens, but it's not necessarily officially happens. It's Fallout, but with a 5-minute interlude.
Tracy runs Balls into a ring post.
Posted.
Before the Freaks team up to run Smothers into the guardrail.
Railed.
They keep up the attack by dropping Smothers onto the steel as well, followed by teaming up inside the ring on Guido with a double back body drop and jabs.
Jabbed.
Tracy makes his way into the ring to get the same treatment from the Freaks before being clotheslined back out to the floor. The Freaks then throw little Guido out onto his partner, with Balls rolling out to deliver a double noggin knocker as well. Now back in the ring, Mahoney lifts Smothers up for his finisher, only for Tracy to wiggle free and send Balls to the ropes, where Tommy grabs his leg, allowing Smothers to use the distraction to nail a dropkick, sending Mahoney to the floor. And Rich climbs to the apron to leap off for a bulldog of Balls right into the railing, before rolling him back in, where the FBI hits double chops, double clotheslines, and a double Paisan elbow.
I love the elbow.
For a 2 count. Mahoney continues to be worked over by strikes and chokes, followed by a leg sweep super kick combo for a near fall. Little Guido then heads up top for a Sicilian jam, before going to a chinlock, with the crowd getting behind Balls, firing him up to escape with elbows and hits a desperation back suplex, followed by making the crawl to the corner for the
hot tag.
Axel cleans house with clotheslines before the freaks whip the FBI into each other, allowing Mahoney to hit a pair of clotheslines as well. Rotten then picks up the chairs for the freaks to do some chair swinging to the heads of the FBI for the pin and the win.
Yeah.
Fun little match there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was good, but like, I think both teams are good, but I feel like they are just kind of bound for the mid card, as they should be. But it doesn't ever feel like exciting or like there's any stakes. So I'm just like, all right, well, like this can be done well, but at the end of the day, like I know what it is and I know what it means, so it's hard to get invested.
I get you.
Yeah, but I mean, you're always like, you guys shit on Axel and Balls too much, and it's like, no, they did a good job. They're doing a good job. They're becoming a better team, but they know their role. The unfortunate thing is, in hindsight, because we're doing this in this year of our Lord 2024 or 5, who knows? But is that I know what this amounts to. So you gotta be special to or do something exciting to get you excited. I don't know.
They definitely got the crowd excited. So
they did. It was working. It was obviously working at this point in time.
This crowd will always tell them if they suck, if they suck dick, if they fucked up, and
if they fuck sheep.
Yeah, that too. And they were cheering, booing everything that they were supposed to do in all of this. So
I guess my point is that like people were excited, and this was exciting at one point, but like Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn is a thing that like you could put on a like mixtape of wrestling matches that people might want to see today, whereas if you put this on there, like it might fall a little more flat. But it probably also has a lot to do with taste. You know our taste here.
Yeah.
We like it when they wrestle.
So we're headed to our 7th match. Al Snow with Head versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Love to see it.
And the crowd's chanting, "You sold out." That's Snow. As this is his last match with ECW before heading back to the WWF. We mentioned that a couple episodes ago.
Yep.
And Al attacks with Head before the bell, followed by strikes and choking, until Bam Bam reverses a whip, only to run into a big boot.
And we're getting "Let's Go Bam Bam" chants, because people aren't happy that their new like favorite guy is already out.
Yep.
He's just out of nowhere became one of the most liked guys in ECW. He's the new hot thing. It's a flash in the pan. And you know how fickle these marks are. These are the guys that are using the internet and paying for the newsletters.
Snow runs into a clothesline, allowing Bigelow to take over the club run with strikes, a delayed vertical suplex, and an avalanche splash that Al avoids to deliver a pair of super kicks, which staggers Bam Bam. Snow gets sent to the floor by a back elbow, with Bigelow keeping up the attack by ramming his head into the railing and a table, followed by tossing Al into the steel. He charges in, but he's then backdropped into the crowd. Snow uses a chair to the head, back, and ribs, only for Bam Bam to answer back with shots of his own, before ramming Al into the ring post.
Posted.
And slammed on the timekeeper's table. Bigelow then heads to the apron, leaping off with an elbow drop, but Snow moves in time, sending Bam Bam crashing through the table.
I mean, good on you, Bam Bam. You didn't have to do that. Al Snow would have let you do whatever you wanted.
Yep.
Al grabs another chair to continue the punishment, followed by returning to the ring for a leg drop and stomps before heading up top, only to get caught on his way down. And Snow wiggles free out of Bigelow's finisher and picks him up for the snowplow, but Bam Bam's too much and falls on top of Al for a 2 count.
I mean, what does he think he's doing? Bam Bam's at least got a full 100 pounds on him.
Every now and then you try and be Hulk Hogan at at WrestleMania 3 and pick up Andre.
I mean, Hulk Hogan was still 6'5".
Meet the same fate of falling backwards.
Bigelow telegraphs a back body drop, so Snow goes for a pile driver, only for Bam Bam to counter it into a backdrop. But Al turns it into a sunset flip, with Bigelow trying to drop down until Snow punches him right in the Bam Bams.
I mean, fun spot, because it's like, well, obviously we know what's going to happen, but Al Snow, you work smarter, not harder.
Al then attempts a running bulldog, only to slip off, so he nails a standing one instead, followed by heading up top for a moonsault that gets a near fall. All of a sudden, Chris Candido runs out to steal head, but Snow sees him and prevents it, allowing Bigelow to fire back with a clothesline and a greetings from Asbury Park for the pin and the win.
I wonder how Bam Bam feels about Boss, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh.
Probably likes him.
Probably, yeah, he's a Jersey guy, but that's the name of the first Bruce Springsteen album. Also, I'm pretty sure it just says that in Asbury Park. There's a big sign.
I'm sure there's a postcard or something like that.
Oh, yeah, all of the above, I'd imagine.
I mean, I'm from Nebraska, which is Springsteen's second album?
Oh, no. It's much further than that. It's the one...
Well, whichever number it is, I'm not a fan of his.
I'm telling you. One of these days.
He's not from Nebraska either, so...
No. Great album, though. I could talk about it, but we're talking about wrestling.
So we go to our 8th match. Chris Candido and Sabu versus Lance Storm and Rob Van Dam in a dream partner match.
Partner swap match, more like it.
Yeah,
kind of, sort of. I mean,
It's like, is it a dream? Because this feels wrong? Because something's out of whack? Or is it a dream because it's what you actually want to see?
Or is it a dream because for the first time ever, spoilers, Terry Funk is not in it.
Ooh.
Well, Tommy Dreamer isn't either.
Yeah. Go, yeah. But yeah, every time there's a dream match.
It is a dream.
So Fonzie's out as well in both teams' corners.
He's on both sides.
While our tag champs start off against each other, with no one gaining an advantage. So they tag out to their partners, who face off with back and forth action. Candido makes his way back in to hit a snapmare and a leg drop on Lance as the homicidal one sets up a table. But once he's back to the apron, Sabu tags in, only for Storm to fight back with forearms and a dropkick, followed by a bad powerbomb attempt.
Oof.
So Lance makes up for it by going for a hurricanrana, but the homicidal one counters by powerbombing Storm for a 2 count. Sabu then locks on a camel clutch as Fonzie throws a chair into the ring, only for the homicidal one to throw it at Lance before nailing Air Sabu in a corner. And Storm avoids a second attempt and makes a tag out to RVD, so Fonzie instructs the homicidal one to tag out. He doesn't want his guys facing each other.
No. It's a contentious enough relationship in the first place.
That's right. Chris gains control with forearms, so Sabu returns, only for the partners to trade waist locks and slug it out, until the homicidal one goes for a Rana. But Van Dam counters by just shoving him off, followed by sending Sabu to the ropes, trying for a leapfrog when the homicidal one would drop kick RVD in the knee.
Making sure we're all on the same page here. This is very fun.
Yes.
Just,
It's 4 people that can work.
Yeah, and the worst worker here has that something extra. His name is Sabu. He's the least quote-unquote talented, but the most unique. And it's meant a lot to... if Sabu didn't have that je ne sais... What do you say it? Je ne sais quoi. Then he would just be the Sandman with better... I mean, people love the Sandman too. That's just my hate coming out. But yeah, this is a blast.
Sabu whips Van Dam to a corner before both men attempts a springboard sidekick, taking both men down, when RVD would get up first to nail a corkscrew leg drop. And Van Dam goes to run the ropes when Candido kicks him from the apron, allowing the homicidal one to deliver a spin kick and bring Chris back in, who fires away with strikes, leading to everyone brawling on the floor momentarily.
Chris Candido has done such a good job of just being a shithead. Mm-hmm. He's kind of like a different kind of weasel than Shane Douglas. Yeah, it's a little bit more petty than Shane Douglas, but he's not ashamed of being petty.
No.
Whereas Shane Douglas will do something tricky or whatever, but yeah, they're similar, but they're different in the right ways.
The back of the ring, Candido's knocked down by a double super kick from his opponents, followed by Lance flying over the ropes with a pescado atop Sabu, while Chris answers back with a powerbomb on RVD, before flying over the ropes with a pescado onto Storm and his partner. Van Dam's back up, so he flies out with a tope con hilo onto Lance and Candido, followed by the Homicidal One hitting a triple jump plancha atop everyone.
Why wouldn't he?
And they head back into the ring with Sabu nailing a slingshot somersault leg drop to Storm for a near fall.
I love it.
Before delivering an air Sabu dropkick. Lance is then whipped to the opposite corner, only for him to leap up to the top, flying backwards with an elbow right into a chair that the Homicidal One's holding, knocking them both down. And both men crawl to the opposite corners and make tags to the wrong partners, which would be their normal tag partner.
Yeah, it's a legitimately funny spot. Sometimes people do comedy and it's cheeky or like, yeah, we get it, but this one worked. They also put in the work.
And those partners run in to fight, but just kind of stop and turn to then fight their own teammates before returning to face each other with strikes. Chris then ducks a spin kick, allowing him to hit a pile driver to take Van Dam down for a 2 count, followed by a forearm and a slam attempt, which is blocked. So Candido counters it into an enziguri and heads up top for a diving headbutt.
I love that after the pile driver that RVD takes, Bill takes a second to rub RVD's neck. It really tickled me, especially after, the comedy spot right before that.
Oh, yeah.
I legitimately laughed out loud.
As much as I've hated
the whistle?
Bill Alfonso over the last couple of years with that fucking whistle.
The whistle's the only reason I hate him.
I dig the way he is with these two on opposite sides.
There's no one else like him. He is a unique. He's not just ripping off like one guy, which is
RVD avoids the diving headbutt and nails a spin kick and a top rope sidekick for a near fall. Van Dam and Chris then fight over a suplex on the apron close to a table when Candido crotches RVD on a turnbuckle, which brings Storm in to brawl with his partner, only to be backdropped over to the apron, followed by Sabu hitting a crossbody off the back of Chris that sends them through the table.
My gosh.
Van Dam then flies off the top with a frog splash onto Candido for a 2 count, before placing a chair on his face for a split-legged moonsault, which Chris avoids.
Thank God.
RVD's nailed with a chair shot and placed on the turnbuckles by Candido, where he delivers a superplex, followed by an Arabian facebuster from the Homicidal One onto both men's faces, before Lance flies off with a crossbody onto Sabu for the pin. And no, Chris breaks it up.
I know my notes. I know I'm excited in my notes when, like, after every sentence, there's, like, exclamation points. And sometimes, too, this shit's rolling.
Storm and Candido fight their way to the floor, while Van Dam and the Homicidal One have a chair duel inside the ring.
Chair duel.
Which Sabu wins and nails a pair of shots to the head for a near fall. The Homicidal One then hits a triple jump moonsault, mocks RVD, before also making the triple threat sign when Chris would attack his teammate. Lance is back in to deliver chair shots to his opponents, then almost nails Van Dam, only for RVD to counter with a Van Daminator, while Sabu applies a camel clutch to Candido, while holding a chair in front of his face.
Yep, it's a lot.
Followed by an RVD dropkick to the steel, which busts him open.
We're doing complex high spots here.
Yeah.
Fonzie's boys then team up for a Rolling Thunder slingshot leg drop on Storm before they throw the tag belts onto the champs.
As everyone chants ECW.
And walk out, with this match being ruled a no contest.
I mean, fun shit. A bit long, but my God, they don't waste any time.
No.
There's no time wasted.
And you're not bored.
Absolutely not. All these guys do everything that they can do and make up some new shit you've never seen.
Post-match, the ref, Jeff Jones, keeps asking Fonzie where his money is, but none is forthcoming.
And, I mean, this is a house show. These clips were probably used for hardcore TV. Another perfectly done TV or house show match that gets you excited for whatever they want to do on a pay-per-view. These four guys in the ring can truly do anything they want.
Yeah.
And make it work.
They definitely own the room.
Yeah.
So we're headed to our 9th match. The Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray, Devon, and Big Dick Dudley, with Joel Gertner and Sign Guy Dudley, versus the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and Spike Dudley, with Beulah.
Fun combo.
In a Stairway to Hell match.
I mean, it can't be heaven. We're in ECW. I mean, we're in Philly.
So, of course, Gertner does his introductions.
He has a new line that I loved.
What was it?
You said that you were celibate, but did it for the hell of it.
Did me for the hell of it.
Did me for the hell of it. Thank you, Shane.
And then he also had, because I almost used it as my other potential name.
Let's hear it.
I've got calves that could easily be mistaken for full-grown cows.
Yeah, I think he says about maybe Big Dick that he has the lats that get the rats, which also got me. I mean, he's not doing the same stuff. He's writing, and it's pretty good.
It's always something different.
It's always, it's pretty good.
You know, Recruit back in the day was always the same. All you fat, out of shape, insert city, and a word that starts with the same letter.
Well, when you have a body like Rick Rude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Gertner's gotta flex his strongest muscle, which is inside of his skull.
Yep.
Sandman and crew also then make their way to the ring, while Joey tells us that the barbed wire is hanging above the ring, and whoever procures it can use it.
Or get it stolen from them.
Know that?
He doesn't say that, but I'm like, this is barbed wire on a pole match.
We get the same script for jokes between Bubba and Beulah as last week.
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to ask about that because I thought they sounded the same, but then this particular show, because it was on a flash drive, I had started watching it one night and fell asleep, and it rolled into the second half of it, and that's the part that I woke up on, and I didn't know for sure if I had heard it in my sleep or if it is something I had heard.
Yeah. This time he basically says that Spike had a beer and now finds Beulah attractive, and then Beulah runs her line back like,
I had a beer and you're skinny.
Yeah, thinks you're thin, and it's like, okay. It's from the last show. They just added Spike into the mix because he's a member of the Dudleys, but fighting against them.
And Devon and Sandy look to start us off, only for Dudley to want Dreamer. So the tag is made for us to finally see some mat wrestling after 14 and a half minutes.
They take their time.
But hey, they were quicker than last week because it was like 17 minutes last week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got Spike Dudley in the mix this time, so
He was in the match.
You're accounting for the.
It's from the moment someone
walks out. Yeah.
To the moment we actually have people lock up.
So you can subtract 5 minutes of it for Enter Sandman.
Yeah, but then
it's still too long.
Tommy pouring beer down Beulah's front.
Yeah.
Spike getting a little sip.
Yeah, they pour beer on her titties and stuff. We get it.
Yeah, maybe it was a light beer.
But after that, Bubba and Spike both tag in, where Bubba Ray uses his power advantage to powerbomb his little brother.
A huge powerbomb.
Spike continues to be worked over with strikes, a backdrop, Beal toss, and a bionic elbow by Bubba, when Spike avoids an avalanche splash in a corner, hitting shoulder blocks and a hurricanrana. Bubba Ray is then nailed by strikes from all of his opponents, including a running bulldog from Spike, but he's able to stumble his way to the corner to bring in Big Dick, sending Spike running to bring in Sandman. And Dick and Sandy with back and forth action when Big Dick goes for a back suplex, only for Sandman to escape, but he ends up being chokeslammed instead. Dick then goes for a powerbomb, only for Sandy to punch his way free before clotheslining the biggest Dudley out to the floor, which sets off a Pier 6 brawl.
And insert yawn.
My favorite pier.
We've been having a good time.
It's the main event, though. What do you expect?
Spike gets press slammed onto the railing while inside, Tommy and Bubba Ray trade strikes until Dreamer delivers a hot shot onto the ropes and a slingshot splash for a 2 count. Bubba ducks a clothesline and hits a Saito suplex, while Sandman drops a ladder onto the head of Big Dick. Spike and Devon have made their way into the ring where the littlest Dudley ducks a clothesline to nail a Rana and an acid drop for a near fall.
Is the Saito suplex, if you're not the right guy to do it, the most unimpressive suplex?
I mean, it's basically just a backdrop suplex. So
Yeah.
It's not the...
It's like, you have to be Japanese to make it look good, essentially. And they don't even always do it, make it look good. But every time I'm like, oh yeah, it's like, it sounds like it should be awesome, but it's mostly just fine.
Devon then catches Spike coming off the second rope with a power slam for a 2 count. Sandy and Dick are now in the ring with the biggest Dudley heading up top, only for Sandman to meet him there to knock him down into a tree of woe.
Whoa.
And everybody gets back in the ring with all of the Dudleys being placed into Tree of Woes.
We've seen this before.
Including Sign Guy as well.
I mean, whoa!
Chairs are placed in front of their faces while Beulah comes in for the good guys to deliver a quadruple stereo dropkick to the steel.
I mean, it would have been really fun if we didn't watch the last show, which I'm glad we watched. I had a good time watching that show. But to see this match kind of just happen again, for the most part.
I mean, it's basically 2 house shows a week apart from each other in different locations.
I get it. I get it. But for personal experience,
it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the rest of the show, I think has been really fun and different enough. Mm-hmm. This is the one thing where they're like, run it back.
We don't have Shane.
Gertner jumps in the ring and challenges Beulah, while Jeff Jones also runs out to take out Jim Molyneux. And Joel goes for the boobs, but he receives a double purple nurple, only to respond with a lip lock, which McGillicuddy answers back with a low blow and goes for a DDT.
Lip lock is so funny.
Jeff Jones attempts to interfere, so Beulah low blows and grabs him to nail a double DDT to the 2 obnoxious men.
This is prime Crash TV vibes.
Dreamer and Sandman are back in with chairs to use on the Dudleys before Spike leaps off the top with a trash can onto Big Dick. And Tommy brings in the ladder and bulldogs Devon onto it, followed by going up top for a frog splash. But Devon avoids, sending Dreamer ribs first into the steel. And Devon fires back with a second rope leg drop onto Tommy with a ladder atop him, while everyone else continues to brawl. Sandman then comes in and goes wild with the ladder, throwing it at everyone, when Spike would also throw the trash can at Devon. And Sandy slams Bubba down before placing the ladder on top of him and dropping Spike onto the steel.
Poor Spike. I hope Spike can walk, in currently.
Modern times,
yeah. Where's he at? Where's his YouTube content?
Dreamer sets the ladder up and makes his way towards the barbed wire, only for Sandman to be shoved into the steel by Big Dick, knocking Tommy down. Sandy then rams the ladder into Devon's face, which busts him open, followed by throwing it onto Bubba Ray at ringside.
And what a crimson mask it is.
Sandman has Spike go to the turnbuckles to climb atop his shoulders, when Big Dick's back in. So Sandy just throws the smallest Dudley at him, only to be caught and nailed with total penetration. While Devon leaps in with a clothesline to Sandman to take him down. The Dudleys then set the ladder across the turnbuckles before powerbombing Spike onto it.
Damn.
Followed by Bubba climbing the ladder, stopping to put some gloves on so he can grab the barbed wire. Tommy's then back in, so the Dudleys wrap him with the wire. but he low blows them both and goes for a DDT on Devon, which is reversed into a side slam onto the barbed wire.
Goddamn.
Mm-hmm.
Spike then grabs the wire and begins whipping his brothers, followed by coming off the ladder, only to be caught with a Bubba cutter for the pin. And no, Sandman breaks it up. And everyone's brawling again when Spike escapes a powerbomb, turning it into an acid drop onto a ladder.
We'll take the damage, though.
But the smallest Dudley's hurt as well, so Devon goes for the cover, with Sandy breaking it up once more.
The acid drop always looks like Spike is taking more damage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's him hitting his ass on the floor.
I know. It's just crazy that's like his big finisher. It's like fun to look at, but it's like, just think for a second. Somebody got way more hurt here.
LSD with the acid drop.
Mm-hmm. He's hurting. I mean, taking LSD, kind of hurting yourself in the long run.
Sandman trading strikes with the Dudleys when he hot shots Bubba Ray onto the ropes, followed by a DDT of Devon for the pin and the win. Post-match, Sandy grabs some wire cutters to cut Tommy out of the barbed wire.
And I would have screamed at Sandy to get the fuck away from me because it looked like he was just trying to rip those things out of his forehead.
Yeah.
As Joey says his goodbyes, and we fade to black. So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of A Matter of Respect, 1998?
I think that it was mostly fun. It starts incredibly hot. We get a really great tag match. We end with a retread of something we had just watched. So, like, after the incredibly long intro for the main event, my eyes were glazed over. Mm-hmm. And that's our fault for watching too much ECW. And for it to be as readily available as it is, but I understand why it worked on this crowd. There's no way they saw the show that we had just watched in real time. But they reaped some of the benefits because they got a couple of matches that were more exciting than the It Ain't Seinfeld show in Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn, where they had a more engaging and more time and a more important match than they did on that last show. And then we got the mix 'em up tag match between RVD, Storm, Candido, and Sabu, which was truly a blast. Like, all these guys firing on all cylinders, just having a good time being creative with each other in a lighthearted way, kind of. It's like, yeah, they're obviously putting their bodies on the line, but the match had like some effervescence to it, where it's just like, this is fucking fun.
Kind of along those same lines. Yeah, it was a fun show, but I think I've used this description before a few different times, and I just watched the movie not too long ago again, Sister Act 2. It was okay for what it was, but it wasn't all that. You know, it's very much a second house show 2 weeks in a row, where it was one of those that not too much happened on it that really changed history or is must-see, but you know, it wasn't a chore to get through.
No. I mean, Lozansky and Mikey Whipwreck was very fun. Kronus had a great showing, albeit short, but Al Snow doing the right thing on the way out, I thought that was really fun. Love Bam Bam. Love Al Snow.
Kronus actually looks like he's had a downgrade to me.
You think so?
Yeah, like when him and Saturn were first split up, maybe it was because he was thrown in there with New Jack, and New Jack just made him look like he was the best thing on earth, or they showcased him in a way, they gave him new gear, something like that. But when he entered the match, it took me a second to realize who he was, because he just looked very just sloppy and unkempt, and I think he definitely had a glow down or a glow back or whatever the hell you want to call it in comparison to what his look was just a few weeks back. Look-wise,
but I think that in the ring he's just as good or better, which is the thing that I was commenting on. But yeah, when they first pulled him out, they said his real name, John Crook, and it took me a second to realize that it was Kronus, but a new coat of paint or the correct old coat of paint would have made him instantly recognizable. But instead, he came out and I'm like, who is this guy? And I should know who this guy is.
I think
we
they
like
said
this
something
guy.
about him being on a losing streak, too, so maybe that was just part of what they were doing is they were stealing his thunder and having him look...
Yeah, it's a good point. It was like, hey, make him schlubby for a little bit, and he's going to pick up wins, and then, not the worst idea.
Yeah.
So after watching the show, I literally wrote, this week was pretty garbage.
Oh, yeah?
With only the smallest amount of storyline advancement being on the plus side. Like, especially in that dream partner match.
I mean, that's the match of the show, right?
But actually, while we were going through it, I was kind of like...
It's not that bad.
The show wasn't as bad as I originally thought. Mm-hmm. Like, some of these matches we should have had. Like, but it is a house show.
Yeah.
I do... like, thinking about it more. I'm like, it's just a house show, so, of course, some of these matches are going to be here just to fill some time. Like the Mikey Lozansky match, that match doesn't need to be there, but it actually is more fun than I think I gave it credit for when I originally watched it.
And if it's going to be anywhere, put it on a house show.
Do you think that
exactly?
Do you think that this show is better than This Ain't Seinfeld?
I do not.
You don't?
This one, I think they each have...
I think together they're two great shows, or they're like one great show, but the issue is that a lot of the better matches involve the same guys, so you can't make a mix mash show of you can't take
But also, we're seeing the main event it's the same match, except for they added barbed wire this time. I mean, it's the exact same match.
I think it's a little bit better.
I mean, it's better just because
it was
the Seinfeld match was also cut all the hell up at the very end.
Yeah.
So
we barely saw
that match once it got going. So I mean, technically, this match is better,
but we didn't really get to see the other thing for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yes, I think both the Jerry Justin match was probably better. The Dream Partner match is a better match than any match that was on Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. I agree with all that.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
this one didn't go down as easy.
It just didn't go down when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering...
If
it's one of those things where if we had watched this one first and then the Seinfeld one technically aired after this one, if we'd be having that same opinion of...
I mean, it's very possible. I mean, that's the problem with watching two house shows back-to-back weeks. Yeah. If you're seeing the same matches, a lot of the same matches, they have to bring something different, and not all of them brought something completely different.
Yeah, and honestly, the two things that were the most same were the main event. Because It Ain't Seinfeld had some fun short matches that I think were maybe more fun than some of the short matches here. But the stuff that earned its time and that was given the time to shine, shined a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Like our Dream Tag and our Credible and Lynn. As exciting as it was for Lynn to win against Just Incredible. And I think that the biggest benefit of It Ain't Seinfeld is we saw Jerry Lynn beat Just Incredible, and then we got to watch this 2 out of 3 falls match because it informed it and made the 2 out of 3 falls match that much better and more exciting while we were watching it.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of the show?
I mean, there's so many crazy spots in that tag, but also
that final sequence before everyone just kind of turns on each other is just insane.
Yeah.
That Dream Partner match.
It's crazy. Bill rubbing RVD's neck after a pile driver. I couldn't help but find the absurdity in it, and it was self-aware, and it was very funny.
Jerry Lynn continuing after landing gut first on the railing, coming off of the top turnbuckle. That was
For a show full of nasty bumps,
that was the botch of the night to start with.
But
he completely slipped on that table as he was trying to run across it.
Yeah, I had to run that one back a few times. Because I was like, it's like, did he? Because for a second it looks like he jumps on the table and then jumps again, but he kind of like starts to slip, so he like hops. Yeah. What was he gonna do?
Only Sabu can Sabu, man. But he impressed me by continuing on, because I don't know how many ribs were broken in that process, but
it sure looks like, he probably bruised one at least.
Joel and Beulah's lip lock, boob touching that went on there in the middle of that match, which, I mean, we saw a resemblance of it last week, but it's still funny.
It is. Gertner's a guy that, like, has really leveled up, like, slowly but surely. Because at first we were like, oh my god, this guy's taking so long, his jokes aren't funny. And then, like, the next week he might have, like, one or two good lines. And then all of a sudden they're all good. But the issue is that it's still too long. Not just him, just, like, the whole production of it.
Especially when it's a match that also involves Sandman.
Yeah.
Because, even if it is shorter than last week, a 14.5-minute intro is dumb. Especially for a main event.
I was impressed by Lozansky.
You know, the thing is, we're complaining about 14.5 minutes now. WWE, once they start doing promo packages before every match and then full intros, there's like 20 minutes in between matches.
Yeah.
Pomp and circumstance. That's not what they mean by pomp and circumstance.
No. They mean macho.
But I do agree about Lozansky. He did definitely impress.
Yeah. I was like, who's this guy? I was interested. But when he said that he was in All Japan and was in the dungeon, my ears perked up, and then he did not disappoint. 3 cheers for him.
Al Snow, once again, holding the crowd in his hand, even though this time they were booing him because they're pissed off that he's leaving them.
The right man won the job, and they had a good match. It was my kind of stuff, for sure. And it's a shame that Al is leaving ECW when he is the new shiny thing. And it's another shame that he never reaches, comparatively, the heights. There's obviously way less people watching ECW, but if you put it scale to scale, it's the most over he's ever going to be to the crowd that he's like working towards. He's great in WWF, but he never gets outside of like straight mid card. Mm-hmm. He's loved, he's appreciated.
I mean, that's the thing, but that is the thing.
But there's more money there too.
He was in the mid card his entire time in WWF, and he's still beloved. To this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no one's mad at him. But here he's at the top of the. He's like, if he stayed here, he'd be at the top of the card.
He'd be a
champion.
Big fish in a small pond.
Exactly.
He'd be the champion on this show that we watched today.
I mean, he made the right move. By no means am I saying that, but it's like, well, he's not the biggest guy, and WWF's not going to have. They have an Austin and a Rock. And, like, he's just not the right...
It's too silly of a gimmick to put in the main event.
I mean, Mick Foley was better on the chase and a guy that never needed a belt. You can say the same for Al Snow, but as beloved as he is, he's not Mick Foley, like, charming. Love him, and I'm happy for him, but just because of how quick this has happened here in ECW, I would have just kind of liked to see what it would have looked like for the next 3 to 6 months.
Oh yeah, I would definitely like to look through the what if window to see what Al Snow as a world champion would look like, to see what changes it would have done to his long-term career.
I mean, I think long-term, this was his only chance to get back in. I think if he said no or wasn't offered it and stuck around for a while, for another 6 months in ECW, it would have just ended there. I think this was his window.
Or he could have taken the jump to WWF like Taz ended up doing, get pulled back because he was needed to save ECW. He could have been that bargaining chip there.
Maybe. He doesn't have the gravitas of Taz.
It didn't work as well for Taz.
So on that match with Shane, I told you guys that he got signed by WWF like that week. I actually have found more about that situation. He was actually being paid by WWF the entire time. He was in ECW. They were paying salary, travel expenses, and everything. He was literally sent down to ECW
to figure it out.
To figure it out, develop a gimmick.
And he did it, and as soon as it got over, they brought him back.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Good for him. So, yeah, take back all the things I said. He was given a mission, and he completely delivered on it, and that's incredible. Because, like, somebody could tell you to do that, and it's like the weight on your shoulders. Like, they brought you in there as, like, Leaf Cassidy, a guy that could work that nobody could have gave a shit less about. You pick up a fucking plastic head and start talking to it and make it the hottest thing in ECW. That, and they're like, all right, he figured it out. He figured out at least how to appeal to the people on the other side of the screen. And we know he can work. So that's not the issue. What's weird to me is seeing how good of a worker he was, and then me as a kid watching Al Snow and be like, Al Snow rules, but not working the same way. And it'll be interesting to see when he goes over there if maybe that was just my kid brain not knowing
what was good.
Yeah, what was good, or what, like the technicalities of wrestling. So I'm excited for that.
Well, let's move on to most disappointing.
Same match twice.
I mean, the sameness is a lot of it.
Yeah. I'm not mad by no means. I
think if we don't watch Seinfeld, or if we don't watch this, I think we're liking either show a little bit more.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but like as far as like being like, that's why I said same match twice for the last one, because Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn, it's not the same match twice. That was like legitimately
a step
forward and good, and I'm glad. That's my biggest takeaway from It Ain't Seinfeld, outside of New Jack almost murdering himself. Which, as dumb as that match was, I found it very compelling because it was visceral. But I'm glad we saw Jerry Lynn pin Just Incredible, and then this started with a 2 out of 3 match, and I was excited. I would have turned this on without seeing that and been like, oh, that's cool. But because of the It Ain't Seinfeld, this show comes on. This is the first match, and I'm like, locked in immediately because of it.
I was disappointed that I guess Taz is still in jail from being put in the police car from last week.
Oh yeah, there was no Taz on this show. That is kind of
because literally
Taz's cousin.
Literally having Taz against Danny Doring instead of Kronus would have just upped that in my.
We were just talking about how I was like. Yeah.
Eyes a little bit.
Have Taz
even though I think Kronus did a good job. I'm not not disregarding Kronus by any means, because I think he did a good job
in ring. But like you said, it feels like his paint is wearing off, or they're slowly applying a new one.
John Kronus, I don't care about John Kronus now that the Eliminators are not a thing.
No, he wasn't my favorite Eliminator to begin with.
I want to love him, and I believe that he has it in him. But Taz always fucking. There was no Taz and there was no Shane Douglas, which automatically, no matter how good the ECW show is, it takes it down a notch. Not having either of those two guys, because they're the best two guys in the company.
They're the best two guys in your company,
and they're the best, and they know the audience and know how to play to that audience better than anybody else. They're the best promos and the best unique in-ring workers.
In months.
Yeah.
And your main guys are
nowhere
nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Best Performer of the Night.
That's a toughie.
It is.
I mean, Gertner's always great. I'm going to throw Blue Meanie some love, too, because he had nothing to do on the show and came out and did exactly what was expected of him and just bled all over the fucking place.
It's hard to pick any of, do we agree that the best match is the tag match?
I'm torn between the tag and
Credible
and
Lynn.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard, because I'm like, I don't know how to pick who was better, Credible or Lynn, because they were in it together, and I don't know who had the best performance out of the 4 guys in the tag match, because they all kind of like just like transformed into...
I'm going with Fonzie.
Well, then I'm going with Mike Lozansky.
I'm going to Chastity. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to give it to Jerry Lynn, because the 1-2 combo of a great showing the last match, or the last show, and then to do the 2 out of 3 falls, be the new guy, and
I mean, we all know what my real answer is, right?
Is what?
For best performer of the night.
Spike?
No, it's Lance Storm, because Lance Storm's always the best performer of the night.
I mean, like I said, it's hard to pick out of those 4 guys, because they did it together. It was... like that match.
Yeah, that's why another reason I'm going for Fonzie, because he represents 2 of those guys.
Yeah.
So we'll just put it all under one person.
There you go. I mean, but if that tag match happened on like AEW TV, it would be over. It would still work today.
Oh yeah,
in that environment.
Still works today.
Yeah,
totally.
But I'm just saying, like, that exact thing where it's like the 2 guys, swapped, and for some reason ECW, whenever they do goofy shit, I'm not as critical about it, because it's ECW. Like, look at what they have to what they have to work with, and like the lack of money, and like the audience is smart. It's not on like cable television. Like, this is like true outlaw shit. So you kind of just innately give them a pass for stupid shit sometimes, and it's like when you go to see a Adam Sandler movie, a Happy Madison production, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, so Rob Schneider's going to show up somewhere
so
and say, you
can
do it.
Yeah, so when something doesn't make sense, you give it a break and you wait for the joke. And ECW is kind of the same thing. I don't get mad when they do something like goofy or something extremely violent, because they've told me what they are. So for me to judge them, and they know exactly what they are, so for me to judge them for being something that I wish they were would be disingenuous.
And how about most surprising of the night? I mean, I am being for real this time. Mike Lozansky is the surprise of the night.
Yeah, because I was
not expecting anything out of that.
He was kind of like a different style of work, but a couple of years ago, maybe it was 96 or 7, when those big guys that came in and did big boy shit in ECW showed up, and I was excited. What's his name that passed away? He passed away recently in the context.
Oh, you talking
Louis, like Spicoli.
There we go.
And there was the other guy that I liked a lot. But they were doing big boy shit, and I was excited because it was somebody who knew what they were doing and doing something that I enjoy in ECW, and they came out of nowhere. It's how I kind of felt with Lozansky, and I'd like to see more of him. If he shows up, that's cool. If not, I appreciate the hard work that you did.
Making their way to the ring,
it's trivia time.
Ooh, what's this week?
This week, the category is What's in a Name?
It's just a name, a name, a name, a name. What's in a name?
So 5 points if you get the correct answer without multiple choice. 3 points with. I'll give you the real name of a wrestler. You give me that wrestler's name.
Okay.
The name is Anthony Norris.
I feel like I know this one. Nobody's coming to mind, unfortunately.
I'm thinking of a guy, but that would be crazy. I won't say it.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it because it would be. I mean, I'm willing to go to multiple choice and buzz.
Yeah.
If you are.
All right, multiple choice for 3 points. Anthony Norris. Your options are Ahmed Johnson, Duke Droese, New Jack, or Waylon Mercy.
Ahmed Johnson.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay. The other names you picked, I'm like...
I can't remember. Who was the second one you said?
Duke
Droese. That's
Droese.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you say that.
The I was like, could it just be Charlie Norris? But Matt wouldn't do that to us.
Originally, that's what I was thinking, because, I mean, you know, Ricky Steamboat was...
Richard Blood,
so it's very possible.
Which I'm still embarrassed about. Every time we do What's in a Name? Yeah, I'm always like, I just want to yell Richard Blood over and over again.
Next week, Slamboree 1998.
I mean, WCW, it's been a contentious relationship. We typically enjoy the shows more when the show is not a Hulk fest.
Yes.
So I don't know what the main event is, but if it doesn't involve Hulk Hogan, we have a better chance of it being a show that is more attuned to our personal taste.
Palatable.
We also run the risk of, if it doesn't involve Hulk Hogan, is it really the main event?
I mean, at this point, I don't care. I just want to see wrestling that I'm interested in.
Yes.
Music from this week's show is This Is Extreme by Harry Slash and the Slash Tones. And Sandman made the pin, so we'll play Enter Sandman by Metallica.
But we're going to play the karaoke version.
So that means, Russia, you probably won't get this episode.
Oh, does Metallica have beef?
Or at least on YouTube, you won't get this episode.
Oh, okay.
Russia blocks everything with copyrights.
Okay. Like they have an issue with Metallica. Gotcha.
You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. We're not doing this for money. We don't have a Patreon. There's no ads on this show.
Yet.
What fucking podcast do you listen to that doesn't have ads? We don't even do the lame ones where they just like put in like a local commercial.
Yeah.
Give us a break. This is pure. Absolutely pure. We do it for the love of it.
That's right.
That earns 5 stars.
Those restaurants and stuff that we bring in here, they don't pay us, we pay them.
Yeah. We could use the money. We don't take the money.
But we will if they decide they want to.
Hey, if you have 3,000 friends that start listening tomorrow, maybe we'll do ads. But until then...
And you know, if you do that, we definitely will have more freebie giveaways and stuff.
So leave 5 stars and tell a friend.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com. Shane, did you want to add anything? Because I totally just right past you there.
Recipes.
We're going to Worcester, Mass. So give me... You know what to do. Give me some ideas. Give me an idea of a food, a beverage. What the fuck is Worcester known for, other than being the first half of Shire sauce?
I mean, half of my family's from there, and I couldn't tell you what food I am.
Like I said, you can send those emails, or you can find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO. X. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.